It's okay. What is that howl? Okay, it's fine. So what are your guys' names?
I'm Martin Deutschman, and
I'm Roberta Deutschman.
Um,
And I am a grandparent to my grandson, Parker Deutschman. Very proud.
I'm a grandparent, a papa, to my grandson, Parker Deutschman.
how old are you guys?
I'm 77, very proudly so. And you?
I'm 80 going on 81, and I'm very proud of that. And I'm having a lot of fun in my older age.
That's awesome. Where are you guys from?
I originally was born in Albany, New York. I grew up in the San Fernando Valley. I came out here when I was a child, about 6 years old. And my wife, I know for a fact, she tells me all the time that she's from Marinette, Wisconsin. So you want to hear more about Marinette, Wisconsin, just talk to her.
Please tell me more.
Nowhere else but Marinette, let me tell you that. Yeah, I'm from a small town in Wisconsin, Marinette, very proud and excited to be from there. It's a wonderful small town, and
Where is it located?
it's northern Wisconsin, about 50 miles north of Green Bay.
Oh, I've heard
So
of
you've got the
Green
Green Bay Packers.
Yes. Oh, yes.
That's right.
Like shirt.
You got it. Anyway, yeah.
That's
So
awesome.
That's a small town girl, and came out to California. Actually, when I finished school, I graduated from the University of Wisconsin-Madison, and as an educator, a teacher, and I was teaching in Chicago and received a wonderful opportunity to move out to California, where I became child development specialist and started a program helping children in the hospital
What hospital?
at UCLA.
Oh, okay.
What grades did you teach?
And I taught kindergarten, and I taught third grade, and then I specialized in learning disabilities. And so I was an itinerant teacher in Chicago area,
What does that
and
mean?
then where I helped children with learning disabilities.
I see.
And then when I came out here, I started a program for the hospitalized child, and then taught children, I'm just trying to think, actually preschool. I directed and taught children in preschool for many years, like about 18 plus years.
Wow.
And I loved it.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
What's your job now? Like,
Yeah, at this time, I'm an instructional aide for children and for special needs children, and that would be in the Saddleback Valley School System area. And that's where I am at this time, and I'm loving it. Just
That's
really
awesome.
enjoyed it.
what about you, Papa?
Okay. Where did what did I work and what did I do? Is that
Yeah.
the question? Okay. I started off getting my business degree in accounting from Cal State LA. I ended up working very shortly, very small a bit of time for the IRS, and then I went on my own, had my own business. I worked as an Allstate agent and had numerous other positions, and then I went on and got my master's degree in special education, and that is where I'm at now. I just retired. I was working as a special ed aide for the Saddleback Valley Unified School District, and it was a very, I would say, a very fulfilling job.
That's awesome.
Yes, I think so too.
this is a bit of a hard question, but what's your greatest accomplishment?
I think my greatest accomplishment
I
is
oversee-
my children.
I knew that.
Uh-huh. And then the joys of seeing them grow and become their own persons.
Yeah.
And then to see them start their families. Yeah, that's my greatest accomplishment.
What about you, Papa?
Well, my greatest accomplishment is having a grandson named Parker.
That's true.
Hey, that's me.
Oh yeah, and actually also having some students I really enjoyed working with. One that really stands out in my mind is this dwarf who is a special ed student who was amazing. He had a desire to achieve, and I helped him work at that.
All the way from 7th grade through graduation.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
and I'll never forget the time that the football team had him score a touchdown, and his mother was screaming and yelling and so excited. I was amazed. So, and it hit the papers. It was in the front page of the Register, and then the sports section.
I remember that. You were able to make it happen.
Yeah,
So that his dream of making that touchdown could happen.
yeah. I
It's pretty
actually
exciting.
I contacted the Register, the sports section, and they publicized it. They had somebody down, and I had the football team, Bob Johnson, who's the coach of the football team. He helped me put it together, and the football team helped create a situation where he actually made a touchdown, and then they raised him above their heads, of the cheerleaders and the football players, and he was swinging his arms like this. Yay! And I'll never forget that. That was a real highlight in
Yeah,
my life.
it's important.
That's awesome. Was there any big events, bad or good, that you were alive to see?
That we're allowed to see.
Alive to see.
Alive to see.
You mean in person or on television or in what?
Anything.
Anything. Do you want me to go first?
Sure.
Okay. Well, one of the things that shocked me was the shooting of our president, President Kennedy. I remember watching that, and he was in a convertible in Dallas, Texas, and they shot him, and finally Walter Cronkite, who was a major announcer at the time, he said, the president is dead. And everybody was shocked, pure shock and sad, extremely sad.
Yeah.
Because he was a very much loved president. And then after that, his brother was shot, Bobby Kennedy. And then Martin Luther King was shot around that time. So that was a very sad time.
Maybe they should stop selling guns.
I agree with you completely. That is the way I feel.
Or maybe just in
And-
that time. Like,
Well, I believe that guns should be controlled or not sold for other than hunting, and even that I don't feel comfortable with.
I agree.
They don't need guns which will shoot multiple bullets for any logical reason.
Right.
And so yeah. Let's see what else. I remember all the things that took place from the going to the moon to the watching the famous entertainers. And what was the name of the place? Where they entertained in New York. No, should have brought it up.
I'm just trying to think, and as you're saying that, some other sad times as far as within history, and I remember very vividly with Kennedy being assassinated. But I also think that time when I was a child, polio was a real fear, and
Yeah.
somewhat similar to what we're experiencing now. But I remember visiting my friends who were in the iron lung machines, and I would go to their homes and visit with them because that's all they had, and it was very frightening.
Did they survive?
One of my friends did not, and my other one, remember her name was Sheila. Sheila Coffey, and she was very sick. Yeah. It's a hard time in
Yeah.
those days. Yeah.
Well, this got depressing.
Well, I could think of more depressing things to tell you people.
Let's hear one more.
One more?
And just so you know, my name is Parker.
Okay.
Wink, wink.
My name's Parker. Okay.
What else?
Okay. Why did I say that? I can't. No. I remember when television first came out. That isn't
Oh, yeah.
so bad. We were one of the first people on our block to have TV. And I
What's the
remember,
first thing you watched on TV?
a lot of people were watching, for some reason, wrestling. Wrestling was really popular in those days.
Interesting.
Huh.
Yeah, and it was really a show. It wasn't real wrestling.
Yeah.
Gorgeous George and people of that.
We would gather around
Yeah.
and sit on the floor, and you'd have your TV.
Yeah.
It was
TV there.
a round tube,
Uh-huh.
about 8 inches
Huh.
diameter,
Diameter, yeah.
and the people in my neighborhood would all come down, sit on the floor, and watch it.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, that was something. I know that the radio, that was obviously before television, and the radio. I used to sit on the floor. They had a big radio, a console that was about 4 feet tall, maybe approximately, and about this wide. And you would hear all the shows, the Green Hornet, the Thin Man, the Shadow, Long Ranger,
Fibber McGee's closet. I remember that.
yeah, Figure McGee. So there was a lot of, and that was really fun because you visualized that in your mind.
Mm-hmm.
You could use your imagination with
Yeah.
radio.
Right.
Just like reading a book.
Exactly.
Mm-hmm.
What is one thing that you love about your job or profession?
Yeah. What I love is the connection with the children and with those that I work with, and hopefully my aim would be to that I'm inspired. I inspire those around me, and I'm inspired by them. And so I would say connecting and inspiring and feeling that I'm engaged.
Yeah.
I'm a part of everything. That's
So
what
you
I-
love.
I love that.
What about you?
Well, somewhat similar. Now that our last job was in the teaching field, so having made contacts with some of the students, and I mentioned Chance again, but that was really an emotional experience for me.
Yeah.
And it just feeling like I'm important in their lives.
That's awesome. All right. What's your favorite holiday? Let's hear it.
Well, you're Mr. Funny Man. You love all the holidays. You'll come in costume and
Yeah.
enjoy them all.
That's true. I enjoy, as he said, I do enjoy all the holidays because I like to be on stage, and so, not literally but figuratively. And so when I'm during the holiday, I'll dress up with something that's appropriate to that occasion,
Yeah.
and people laugh when I walk in the door. That is fun for me. Also, I ran the senior center and called bingo.
Oh
And,
yeah, I remember that.
Yeah, and
I got to go in there too.
yeah, that's right.
Uh-huh. You
And
did?
I enjoyed.
B7.
I enjoyed that very much. I got to joke around with everybody in the audience, and everybody told me they loved me. So, needless to say, I enjoyed it, and it was a real experience. Same thing I did with 4th of July when I was the MC for the parade at Lake
That
Forest.
was awesome.
That was
Yeah.
fun. I enjoyed that so much. And I kept talking and talking until I lost my voice, and
Yeah.
Robbie would take over.
And you, Parker.
Yeah, when you lost your voice.
Yeah, Parker take
That
over.
was the
Come
best
on, read
part.
the script. Come on,
Oh,
tell.
4th of July and
Yeah.
announcing and having you take over with
And
that.
then
The
we
best
had
thing.
jokes that we told.
Uh-huh.
Parker, remember that?
Oh yeah.
You made up your own jokes. I had some written down. And he was a blast.
That was awesome.
Yeah, just too bad 2020, they didn't have parade,
Yeah.
but maybe next year.
And for holidays for me, well, I must speak for you as well, but during the holidays when we have all the family over for all the traditions and excitement and laughter and, you know, it just, that's really, really something very special for me.
Yeah.
And having everybody be a part of it all. Yeah.
Awesome.
Yep.
Did you have any major life changes during the quarantine/pandemic? For example, moving, new kid, new job, lost job, etc.
I think a major adjustment was that it was happening, and how were we going to choose to accept it and be safe within that setting. So with information of what was happening, our acceptance of it, we had to decide how were we going to deal with it, and how were we going to be safe and have a good attitude about it by choice, because
Yeah.
it was very, very frightening, very threatening. Everything changed. Okay, and that I think was a big adjustment.
Yeah.
We adjusted,
Yeah,
but
Right.
it was a big adjustment.
yeah, and it was.
And we found out too, we weren't alone.
Right.
You know, that was the point. We weren't alone with this. It was everybody
All
else was
in
dealing.
this together.
You got it. Yeah, we were all in it together, and that was what was, you know, you looked around and you saw it. So how were we going to deal with it?
Yeah.
Yeah,
And yeah.
but one of the things is that not everybody took it seriously.
Right.
So when we took it seriously, it was difficult to relate to people who were didn't have the same attitude.
Right.
And being older, we were more scared.
Sure.
And
And our children stepped in to help us. immediately. You know, Perry came in and she stayed with us for several months.
Perry is our daughter.
Yes.
And we were able to get everything organized within our home. Your dad and your mom were here and helping us in whatever things we needed to do to be able to settle in. So we had the security of knowing that our family, our children were there,
Right.
that we weren't alone. Okay, and we could accept it. We also made a decision that we were not going to, in quotes, rock the boat. We were going to go with whatever was happening in the world. We needed to be safe, and we didn't want to be a threat of our children worrying about us, and we were going to follow whatever needed to be done.
Yeah. Did you discover anything new, like hobbies or activities you like to do?
That was really good. We really had to look inside ourselves and decide what were we going to make of our days and what would we like to do. It wasn't a problem of what are we going to do. You know, it's what do we want to do. And I did. I did some sculpting and with clay. I did a lot of writing. You and I both did writing of stories.
Yeah. Well, that's what I was going to bring up, the storybook. What we did was, the storybook sends you questions, and then you answer the questions, and then you make a book out of it. And we did this,
Yeah.
and we did this
So
for how many?
We've actually made a book. Every week, a question came out. And as it did, because it was the pandemic and because we were home and because we weren't running out somewhere, we really enjoyed. We answered the questions as we each felt about it. We needed to write it up and then submit it. And then you could add questions and pictures with it as well. Well, at the end of the year, the whole year, all of those stories are being put in, as we speak, into a book.
That's awesome.
And it was really good. Questions like you're asking us, and we would be very introspective and thought-provoking.
And I learned a lot about her, and she learned a lot about me.
It was really good.
And,
Great experience.
yeah.
You learned how to keep your sense of humor, and you also learned what matters most, and what really is important. And when we saw how well you were doing, and your sister and your family, I mean, that's resilience, being able to deal with it. It gave us a good feeling inside too.
Yeah. On the other
So that
end,
we could
it
be
was,
here
it
for
was
you.
difficult knowing that we had to be careful, so we couldn't go to a lot of events
No.
that we normally would have enjoyed going to, especially with you, your sister.
And we focused on what was good each day. I took up even taking pictures on walks or outside on the patio, the little animals coming by. Remember, I would send you the little clips and things, looking at the things that really mattered. You know, the squirrels and the birds and the flowers. You know, we enjoyed that, and I'm glad that we could take the time.
Yeah.
Okay, next question.
Okay. Did you prefer online work or school or real work or school?
That's a good question.
That is a very good question. There's nothing that can be children having contact with their friends. Okay, that is number one priority.
Yeah.
How we dealt with it, you're in the pandemic, so you had to do online. There was no other choice. In the children that I worked with, I was thrilled because I could actually reach a child who was in first grade who wouldn't get out of bed except for me. And I could be sure that, he did the things and he talked and he was engaged and we, could take a little walk outside and things like that. So in that sense, I was able to feel that I was meeting some needs, but nothing can ever come to children being with children, kids being with kids, the interactions that you have to do, the decisions you have to make. Yeah. That's number one.
Well, basically, I had the same thing when my class went back in the classroom. I had to teach from my house.
Yeah.
and I enjoyed it, but I did enjoy the interaction with the children.
Yeah.
How has the coronavirus encouraged you to work on yourself? What were any goals you had during quarantine? Did you achieve them?
I think to continuously work on myself, on what matters most, and to keep we always said I look through things, the rosy glasses, okay, but to keep my positive attitude by choice, what really is important. And that would be something that was ever present in whatever I did. So I needed to continue to work on that. I needed to also continue to be very thankful and grateful that family was healthy, that we were all doing fine. We were doing the best that we could. You know, and you've heard me say, do your best and your best is good enough. And when that happens, that is good. And I think,
Don't
What else?
cry, Pop. It's okay.
what were you gonna say?
Uh,
The question?
no, that's one of the things was I learned to enjoy reading more and listening to tapes, or not tapes, they don't call tapes anymore.
Audio?
Audio,
Uh-huh.
and
Yeah.
watching more thoughtful television and internet that was educational.
Mm-hmm.
And I love science, so I was able to focus in on that subject matter. And so I enjoyed the stimulation.
Mm-hmm. Right.
How was your job affected by the pandemic?
Oh, well, I can say that basically the job was affected because I couldn't teach in the classroom. It was too dangerous for me.
Right.
So I had I left teaching, and I said that I can't teach. When they went back to the classroom, I said I can't teach, and they put me on a
100-day.
100-day
leave.
half pay leave.
Yeah, you couldn't risk going back.
Yeah.
And in my class, I had several children that I worked with every day and continued to via Zoom, and until the end of the year. But starting this year, I too can't risk going back into the class setting. So I too am on leave. It's very sad. I miss that.
Yeah. What was your daily routine during this time, and did it change?
During the time of the pandemic?
Yeah.
Yeah. The actual routine was pretty much the same every day. So we really needed to be positive in the morning when we woke up. You know, what are we doing? This is our day, this is our schedule, and make the most of that, okay? And then we would go for a walk, which we loved going out for a walk.
Oh, yeah.
And that became a highlight of our day. So it was simple pleasures, and then a lot of kindnesses along the way with people that you would see, or people that, you know, you were ordering your food out, everything was being delivered, you couldn't go in and out anywhere.
Yeah.
So your day became
A
kind of
routine.
making the most of it.
Yeah, a routine, but it was enjoyable routine.
Yeah.
Enjoying the smaller things.
Oh, yes.
Yeah, and
The simple things.
the need, answering your basic needs, and try to make it enjoyable.
Yeah, very simple.
Yeah. What do you do in your free time?
What did I do in my free time?
Yeah.
When there was a lot of free time.
When there's a lot of free time. When you've gone for
Yeah,
your walk.
well,
when
you know,
you've
you
written
kind of
down
schedule
everything.
yourself out so that you have certain times. I think free time would be, you know, you would plan your time to go like in reading and in, you know, in getting into your particular programs that you were watching, okay? Then we would do our exercises, then we would go for a walk. Those would be, you know, and staying engaged.
Yeah.
But we helped each other with that.
for sure.
Mm-hmm.
What were you expecting would happen with 2020 or 2021?
Well, I'll answer that. I figured by 2021 that we would have it solved, that the pandemic, once we got the vaccines, that it'll start to dissipate.
Just-
And it unfortunately hasn't worked out that way, but that's what I was hoping and expecting. What about you?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I thought there would be better tomorrows, but it's like a new norm. It's not like it was. It won't ever be.
Yeah.
And what are we going to do with it? You know, with what we've got right now, how can we make the most of it for our lives? Okay, and we found that we can together, but we also appreciate so many other things that we're kind of take it for granted, but how our kids are doing, how our grandchildren are, what they're doing, being involved and hearing all of this, that gives us an inner pleasure, and we're not looking for more than that.
Right.
And I think that's what's important.
What was the best advice you received during the lockdown?
Best advice.
I would say best advice was from the can't think of his name, Dr.
Fauci?
Yeah, what's his name?
Dr. Fauci?
Yes.
Fauci. Thank you. He had the right answers and made you feel comfortable, or that things were gonna work out.
Yeah.
That I relied on him, and it made it easier for us.
Gave you a sense of hope.
Exactly. Exactly.
Mm-hmm.
Did you ever get annoyed of being inside all the time?
What?
Did you ever get annoyed of being inside all the time?
Oh yeah. I was frustrated. I was definitely frustrated. I wanted to go out. I wanted to be with people. I wanted to do different things, and even things that I'd say a younger person would be able to do. I hesitated because I knew that my resistance would be lower than the neighbor who's like in their 30s and 40s.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think just and as you know, you probably missing all your friends and can't be with them. We too had our friends, and it was hard because we couldn't really see with them and socialize with them. So at a whole nother level, we were missing that as well. Sure.
During a pandemic, a lot of families welcomed a new family member into their lives, such as pets. Did you have that happen to you during lockdown? And if so, what pet did you get? If not, do you wish you would have gotten a pet? And what type? Was it a good decision?
We were fortunate in that we did have Jax, our little dog, and Perry was here with her dog, Ellie. So we had a lot of excitement with them. They were also very old dogs, and they were running into some real complications. And in fact, we had to say goodbye to both of them on the very same day. So it was a really sad time for us, but we knew having them with us was really quite joyful.
We enjoyed very much having them.
Yeah, and then a while later, Perry ended up getting 2 puppies, little brother and sister.
That's what you're hearing in the background.
Yes, little rescue puppies, and that was a real excitement. Yes, I think bringing pets or animals into our home was a real exciting kind of thing. We were certainly open for it.
Yeah. If you could give some advice to your younger self, what would it be? You got this.
Okay, got it. Find things, be true to yourself, don't let others send you in the direction they want to send you, rather than the way you feel that you want to go. Don't do things that you know that will not make you happy. It might make you financially secure, but you want to also be happy of what you're doing, especially in work.
And invest in Bitcoin.
Invest in Bitcoin and yes.
Yeah. What about you, Mimi?
I think to always be, I feel I've always talked to myself with it because I've lived with it, grown up with it, to have a positive attitude, to always try to be sure that you're able to move forward, right or wrong, make a decision and follow through. Those are things that were always my guidelines that really helped me.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
If you could do something differently in the way you handled quarantine, what would it be?
That's a tough,
Really, yeah.
that's a tough question. Can't think of anything off the top of my head where I would have changed the way I handled it.
That's good.
Yeah,
I think,
I wish I could have, like, as I said, socialize or be with my friends and be with my family more, but realistically, I had to be safe.
yeah. And I don't think of differently, but I think if those that needed help, more help than I had, if I knew how to or could make a difference, I would want to be there to make that difference.
All right, that's it. Thank you guys so much.
Oh, you're more than welcome. It
I
was
love
my
you
pleasure.
guys. Thank you.
Thank you.